like he was all over the place in our zone. He was the top of the zone, bottom of the zone, wing of the zone. He was making some things happen. That changed, like, kind of the energy of that moment, and then everybody else, just fed off of that. And then Norm at the end, I thought he was just really good in the second half. It was frustrating, obviously in the first half he only had 3 points, but then he responded with his voice. He was verbal in every huddle. He was engaged. He was just figuring out, hey, I've got to find a different way to make an impact. And it started with his voice, started with making, defensive efforts. And then, down the stretch, he just was really good. When we put the ball in his hands and ran a pick and roll, basically with him and Bam, and he was able to create some separation there just out of his skill level. But I think, Kalel was really good tonight. And I mentioned that to the team, that it's not easy, to be starting, playing really well, and really making an impact as a starter, then to come off the bench and still have a big impact in 19 minutes, to have 16 rebounds, is exceptional. But it was more about his mindset. And they were playing so small, because of all the lineups and everything, that I was thinking about going, bigger, but that could have given them an advantage. But I thought, that's something that we can definitely, build on, the fact that, he still had an impact.
Obviously, Bam's return game, it seemed like he got going as the game went on. What did you kind of see from him?
Boy, he just does so many things for a basketball team. I didn't look at the stats. I don't have my glasses. I can't see that, but defensively, while he was on the floor, I bet the numbers were pretty dang good. That's not a coincidence. And offensively, I think this really fits his strengths, because he's really good at a lot of different things. And if you just limit it, to one or two things, that's not really fully maximizing his skill set. But it was great to have him back, for sure.
He played 29. Is that about what you envisioned for tonight?
Don't ask the performance staff. Did he play that much?
20.
I thought I controlled
28, 48.
Yeah, I never played him extended minutes in a row. He was able to handle it. The work that he did behind the scenes prepared him, for this. I wanted to make sure that first number was a 2. Okay.
You had 71 seconds to play with, so yeah. You got there. You talked about it. They were obviously very unique lineups for them, and it would be, in theory, harder with Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, Al, all those guys playing. But what is the challenge when it's groupings that not only Steve hasn't seen, but you haven't seen either from them? What is the challenge?
I think it's human nature. We jumped out to an early lead, and then it probably just creeps in that it's going to be an easy game. Be looking for a knockout punch early. That's not the right approach you want to wear on them. In the second half, I thought our efforts were much better, and that doesn't guarantee that it's going to, be a 20-point lead. But at the end, eventually, I think we wore on them. It's really one of the first times this season I think we had poor shot selection, in the first half. I love the way we were playing fast, and then it kind of fed into some 1-on-4s, some early jacks, we didn't have our normal paint attacks, and those usually come from more intention, and then the ball moves. That was much better in the second half, and even if we weren't making shots, it just looked a little bit more like us. But teams will go through that, and it was probably, frustrating. I hope the guys view that as frustrating, scoring 48 points and not passing the ball and not playing our game, and then getting a win out of it. so that we can learn that lesson. We'll need it on this road trip. We're playing two good teams on the road.
I'm sure the percentages probably weren't there tonight, but coming into tonight, you had seemed to feel pretty good about the process against the zone for the most part, and
Yeah.
toggling in and out of it. But was the process still there? But it sounds like you felt like
Of our zone or their zone?
when they were in zone. You're
Yeah, I think we feel a lot more comfortable with it, and it will continue to get more comfortable. I was more frustrated with some of the decisions in semi-transition, or in the half court against their man, where we weren't really getting to the things that have been successful for us. But we're going to see a lot of it, and that's good. We want to see as much of it as we can, and I think our numbers are solid against zone, and it is a compliment. But we want to get to a point where whatever you do, that it's the wrong decision.
A big part of Norm's 17.4 quarter seemed to be this catch and goes, just kind of off the ball catch and go drives. Just how important, I guess, is that in his game right now?
Correct. No, not just for his game. Yeah, I mean, it took us forever to get to that. I mean, we were playing fast at the beginning, and then we were doing a lot of, poor shot selection, some early shots that weren't really getting to our game. We want to get multiple guys in that kind of situation, but it takes, intention. I don't think you can guard Norm. He's on the when he's on the move like that, but it takes intention from the other four guys. And also, he's our leading scorer, so we have to have an understanding that if we're not getting to the game, we're scoring low in the first half, and he has 3 points, there has to